This is the biceps reflex because the biceps tendon is right here. You strike here to do the triceps reflex. The patellar reflex is the reflex that's on the knee. The Achilles reflex, or the calcaneal reflex, is the one on the ankle, right here. And then the plantar reflex is when you drag an object around the length of the foot to elicit a reflex, okay? Now, the next ones we need to know the near point of accommodation. What is the near point of accommodation? It's the closest distance where a person can still see clearly. And you test that by starting out looking at a piece of paper with writing on it, and then you gradually bring it in, and the closest point to where you actually see the print clearly is the near point of accommodation. Astigmatism, what's that? Curvature of the lens or cornea. It's the abnormal curvature. And I'm going to show you the chart that you use to determine that. So, let's go ahead and do this. Right here is the astigmatism chart. Remember that? Okay. I remember this astigmatism chart here? Okay. All right. Janai, you got it? Astigmatism chart? Okay. Blind spot. What is the blind spot? Right. The point in your eye where you cannot see. That's where what enters the eye?
The red. Not the
optic nerve enters the eye. Okay. And then Ishihara color plates. Let's see. Yeah, actually I don't have a picture of it, but basically it's the colored dots.
With the 7 in it.
Yeah, with the numbers in it. And people that are colorblind cannot see the numbers. Okay? Like Justin. So
Each eye cancel out each blind spot.
correct. That's why you don't go around bumping into stuff if something is in your blind spot, because the other eye compensates for it. Okay? And then visual acuity. Visual acuity is how well you can see, and that's determined by this chart, the Snellen eye chart. Okay? Snellen eye chart right here. Okay? Then you have the auditory acuity test. How do we test that?
And the valley, right?
Yeah, the ticking, right? You
Mhm.
determine when a person could not hear the ticking of the stopwatch on the phone anymore. That's acuity. Yeah, acuity is how well you can hear. Versus sound localization,
Where it was.
right, that's where you try to localize the sound, figure out where the sound is coming from. The Rennie test, let me grab a tuning fork. So the Rennie test is where you hit the tuning fork, you put it on the mastoid process right here, and when you can't feel the vibration anymore, I hit it too hard, I can still feel it. And normally what happens is when you can't feel the vibration anymore, then you do right here, and you should still be able to hear it. The Weber test is where you hit the tuning fork and you put it right in the middle of the forehead, and you should be able to hear it, the sound equally on both sides. And the Barney test is a test of visual reflexes. Remember, that's where we spun Zendaya around in the chair, and her eyes responded with nystagmus. And then the Romberg test, Justin was nice enough to demonstrate, where you put hands at your side. Sometimes people have the patient hold out their arms or hands, feet together, close your eyes, and that determines if there's a defect in the organ of balance. Yes.
Are we gonna describe the test or?
No,
or is that the-
I'll have a description of the
And we gotta
test,
know
and then
what-
you have to know what the test is.
And you
Yeah,
said
no.
We have a word bank for the
Exactly, and you'll have a word bank for the tests only. Okay, not the anatomy, not the slides, but the tests. I will give you a word bank.
Ouch.
Okay.
This is me, Lord.
And that's sphygmomanometer. What is that? What is that test for? We did it Tuesday.
No.
Well, I tried to do it on Justin, but I didn't have my stethoscope.
Oh, is it the blood pressure?
Blood pressure cuff, right? I told you the blood pressure cuff is also known as the sphygmomanometer. That tests blood pressure.
Wow.
Okay?
We're looking like.
Okay. And like I said, you need to know how to calculate heart rate, which is the pulse. Don't worry about the first and second heart sounds. Systolic blood pressure is blood pressure when the ventricles contract.
Yes, and then
Diastolic blood pressure is when the ventricles relax. All right. Average blood pressure 120/80. Okay. And that's pretty much all the different tests. And let me